you haven't noticed, everybody's not wearing a mask. You can go to the Twins game and most people don't wear a mask. The hospitals don't have hardly anybody in them that are in there because of COVID. You cannot say that the emergency is not over. It's over. So today, the bill that we're going to focus on shows that we have a path to dramatically reduce emergency powers. There could be some other directions. Our preference would be that we remove them totally, but if it just focuses on the things that receive the federal money specifically related to COVID, that would be a good thing. So,
thank you, Senator. Senator said, we've been working on this issue all session and really been trying to listen to the governor, the executive branch, and bring forth reasonable solutions. The governor himself has said in the past month that all he needs is the ability to procure and distribute vaccinations. We're very close in Minnesota to having 70% of folks vaccinated, so that's a very good sign. And then he's also said that we want to make sure that we don't put in any jeopardy the federal money that's been flowing to the state because of the federal emergency declaration. So we look to solve those two questions that the governor posed, and my bill does that. It's patterned after an Alaska bill that has been tested, so we're not out on a limb here with anything that hasn't been done across the country. I counted up the days this morning. It's been nearly 500 days. I don't think anybody anticipated that the Chapter 12 clause in our Constitution would go beyond 30 days, much less 500. The emergency is over. We're going to provide the governor the things he needs to do to manage COVID, and we're going to restore the legislature as a co-equal branch of government. A very reasonable proposal, and I don't see any reason why we can't move forward with this and then get to the work of finalizing the budget.
I will tell you, in my 38 years in the military, in my 27 years in the fire service, in my 9 years in the legislature, I've never been treated in such a condescending manner. Basically, anything we said was not worth his consideration. What I don't understand is, and if anybody knows me and has worked with me at the legislature, I have always worked to compromise. I have always worked across the aisle to try and find a way to make things work. If you don't like something in a bill of mine, offer an option, and we will work through it. We'll find a way to make it happen. But to just unilaterally say it doesn't work, I think is outrageous.
I think we have voted 19 times to end them, with Democrats in the House rebuffing that effort every single time. The reality is the governor does not need the emergency powers. You see that in other states. Actually, there are governors right now giving up their emergency powers voluntarily. I want to thank Representative Haley and Senator Howe for the work that they've done on this bill. Because if it were me, I would say we're just ending the emergency powers, period. The governor does not need them. We've got school kids wearing masks, and I wonder if this isn't the real reason that the governor right now is clasping onto his emergency powers with white knuckles, is that the grip over the teachers' union that the teachers' union has over the governor and keeping masks in schools and keeping masks on teachers. I wonder if that's not the reason the governor is still holding on to these emergency powers. We have, in a real attempt to compromise, answered the things that the governor is concerned about and dealt with those in this bill. He said that he's concerned about his ability to supply vaccines, and this bill still gives him the ability to do that. He has said that he wants to make sure that we don't disrupt federal money coming to the state. This bill does that. So we have answered every one of his objections, and it's time to end the emergency powers. Now, I would love to say, in a spirit of compromise, that I would love for the governor to accept this bill. The reality is, I don't care what the governor thinks. The governor hasn't cared what the legislature has thought for 15 months. And he has not included the legislature. He's intentionally excluded the legislature from this response. And ultimately, the governor in Chapter 12 does not have a role in ending the emergency powers. He can not renew them if he chooses to, but the legislature can take a vote and end his emergency powers. If it were up to me, I'd put this language into one of the budget bills and send it to his desk. I remember saying midway through the year last year that it wouldn't surprise me if the governor still had his emergency powers on December 31st. And people would say, oh, no, that's not, no way. And the governor, here we are in June. The governor still has emergency powers. And I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if he still has them on December 31st. So,
During the meeting, Speaker Hortman said, Governor, I think the Speaker, she said, I think the Senator's just trying to find common ground. And the governor shifted his focus from me to her and actually went after her for agreeing that we were trying to find common ground. Apparently, he didn't want to find any that day. So.